Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jennifer, and today we will be playing with SUQQU Fall 2021 and some products that I've had for quite some time that I'm just going to throw in to finish off the look. So if you're interested in seeing that, just stay tuned. So it's a SUQQU kind of day. If you're not familiar with the SUQQU brand, it is a beautiful, ethereal looking, in my opinion, brand that is difficult to get here in the United States, or at least that has been my experience. It's made in Japan, or I think most of the products are made in Japan. I don't know if all of the products are made in Japan. I'd have to check that out, but I think most of them are, and if not all of them. And I find that every time I pick up something from SUQQU, I am surprised at how much I love it, frankly. Every time I look at the releases, I'm always like, oh, that looks really pretty. And I pick them up and I'm like, oh, it's even better than I thought it was going to be. So I'm always impressed with the quality of the products. Recently, however, though, I feel like it's been harder and harder to pick up limited edition shades or palettes or whatever the case may be. Now, I don't think this is just SUQQU. I think this is true for pretty much everything right now. I think there is problems in the supply chain. I think there are issues with ingredients, and I think there are issues with products like plastic. I think there is elements that along the supply chain are frankly either limited in production or having difficulty with shipping because of everything that's happening across the globe. So I think it's impacting smaller brands even more. And I don't think SUQQU is a huge brand. It's not like a Dior or Chanel. And I see it even in those brands. I've noticed an inconsistency of product and a inconsistency in releases about how much, numbers are available. So I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that these things are outside of their control. So, however, I understand that doesn't necessarily mean anything to the person who is trying to get the item that they want. I say all of that because I recognize that a lot of people could not pick up this fall collection, and I think it was like spring, maybe even last year, some of the limited edition items. So what I did is the things that I picked up are mostly not limited edition. They're part of the permanent collection, like the lipsticks that I picked up, the shades that I picked up were mostly the permanent shades. And the eyeshadow quads, which are limited edition, I did pick up only one. And in the blush, both are still available on Selfridges. And now the entire collection, Cult Beauty, Harrods, Liberty London, and I think many of these things are available. Again, limited edition shades, I know, are mostly sold out, including the eyeshadow quad. So I'm just putting that all out there. Get it out there. Let's talk about it. then we can move on. Let me pull my hair back. But I do really like the products, and you did all say that you wanted to see the products that I did pick up. So I'm going to show them to you. First, I'm going to use the SUQQU Refining Primer. This is not something I've used before. I was sent a sample of it in my recent order. I did order some things online, and then I ordered some things through the Selfridges SUQQU counter. That is a way to make sure that you do get the items that you want. If you are interested in picking up SUQQU and you want, certain items from the collection, I would say order from the counter, because they're going to have everything that you want. I've had excellent customer service from the people at SUQQU at Selfridges. They've been extremely helpful, very kind. They've gone above and beyond to send, samples and to help me figure out what, shades I want to get and all those things. So if SUQQU is a brand that you really do want to buy and you are really, invested in getting certain limited edition items, then I would suggest reaching out to the Selfridges SUQQU counter. I will make sure their information, the email is in my description box. Like I said, I've had great experience with them, so I can only talk about my experience, but they've been excellent. You can also order through the website, Selfridges, Cult Beauty, Harrods, and Liberty London. I ordered from Selfridges online, and I did just order some things, just, you know, on the Selfridges app where I order other things from Selfridges. So you can do that. But I would say that usually for us here in the United States, especially the East Coast, the limited edition and the releases drop at like 3 or 4 in the morning. And I'm not going to be up at 3 or 4 in the morning to immediately buy the items that will then sell out. So those are the things that you just have to keep in mind. Again, it's just makeup. If you miss out on a limited release, in my opinion, you know, there's always more product. There's always other releases. There's always other things that you can pick up. I try to be like, well, if I didn't get that, I didn't get that. And I have so much stuff, you know, it's like, I'm fine. But I do understand the disappointment when you really want something and you can't get it. So I just want to recognize, you know, I've had many people reach out to me about that. So I'm going to use the Suqqu foundation. This is in 210. This is not new. This was not just released. I've had this for some time now. I really like this foundation. I feel like it's better suited for when my skin is drier. So probably for the winter, but I still think this is a good foundation. The primer went on well. It feels smooth. My face doesn't, you know, feel really red or irritated or anything. Feels nice. I think I don't know, in a way it did seem to even out my skin tone a little bit. My skin has been a little off lately. Off for me. It's just been more combination and a little red and a little, not irritated. It's not that. It's just, I've had like breakouts and stuff, which is just not something I generally have. So, you know, it is what it is. My skin has just appeared less uniform lately. I have been trying some new skincare, so that could be it. And could also be a number of other things. So, you know, we'll see how that plays out. Let me grab a brush. But regardless of how finicky my skin is being, I will say that this foundation I've used a bunch of times and I've never had a problem with it. It'll be interesting to see if it looks drastically different over the primer and how I feel about the primer. I'm not a big primer person. I usually feel like primer, I don't know, it just doesn't work well on me. I think maybe because my skin is generally dry and I feel like primer, I don't know, most primers are made, I think, to like have product, you know, like stick to your skin kind of thing. And I don't really need that. I need moisture, I need radiance. Now I have noticed over the last few years that you see more primers that are for people like me, who are looking for more radiance, who are looking for more moisture in their primers. I have seen more of that. And I have some quote primers that do that. The brown one works really well. The Guerlain Watery Oil, which is technically a skincare product, but I use it as a primer, works really well. The Augustinus Botter, I think it's Botter, or is it Bader? I can never remember. Anyway, it's a Victoria Beckham collab. That works extremely well. So, you know, there are primers that I use, but all those primers really kind of work more as a moisturizer than anything else. So I hesitate to call them primers because I don't think they really are in the traditional sense. This one feels more like a traditional primer, but I have to say, that created a very smooth look on my skin. It almost looks, and this is gonna sound weird, too smooth. Like it almost looks like I erased, it almost looks like I erased any details in my skin, which a lot of you out there might like. What I mean is like there's no pores, there's no lines, there's no anything. It looks almost flawless, which kind of freaks me out a little. I'm not one of those people who really likes kind of a mask like base. It just, I feel like it doesn't look right because as a human being, you have pores, you have discoloration, you have, you know, and so when I see a completely smooth, all uniform, one shade, it kind of like, I'm like, oh, that doesn't look right. But as a base, before I put on, you know, other products, this looks pretty good. The foundation always looks good on me, but it does look better with the primer. I'm pretty impressed with that. Because like I said, my skin is irritated right now and I have red spots and some bumps going on and you really can't tell. I mean, that looks okay. It's pretty good. It feels a little tacky. But this foundation, like I said, is more moisturizing, so I don't think it's any more tacky than it was without the primer. All right, so I'm gonna use a little bit of loose powder. SUQQU powder, I think, is really good powder. I really like their powder. I like their pressed powder, and I like their loose powder. This is the, I always forget the name of this thing. I don't know how I keep forgetting it, but it is the Rich Glow Loose Powder. So it's not like, it's not a mattifying, well, I mean, it's powder, so of course it mattifies, but it's kind of a glowy powder in a way. And so I really like it for my skin. I'm actually gonna use a powder puff that comes with it, which is, again, not something I usually do, but this one actually works pretty well to just kind of take off the tackiness, if you will, of the foundation. If I was doing this and I had time, I would probably just let it sit for a while, and that would probably alleviate the problem because my skin, like I said, although it's quote more combination now, it's still dry. But since we're, you know, using all SUQQU products, I think it's good to see. You can see what it did. It just kind of, yeah, it kind of mattified. It's still like, it's still a little bit, it's not tacky anymore, but it's, you know, it's not dry. Because the powder's not really like that. It's not a powder that just completely mattifies the face. If it was, I probably wouldn't use it. So SUQQU, I don't have a bronzer, and I've actually went back and looked, and I don't think SUQQU technically has a bronzer. However, the blush that I picked up this time and the blush that I didn't pick up, which is 129, look kind of bronzy to me, or like they could be used as bronzers. Like this looks like it could be used as a bronzer, and the 129 really looks like it could be used as a bronzer. So I'm kind of thinking about picking it up because I don't have a SUQQU bronzer. There are palettes that have, this is called the Powder Blush Compact. So technically these are supposed to be all blushes, but you know, some of these shades I think you could use as a blush slash highlighter. Obviously, like this one, definitely highlighter. This one definitely more of like a bronzy kind of shade. It looks to me like, I don't know, I kind of think it's a little bit like a bronzer. So I think there are blushes that SUQQU does that have more of that bronzy kind of look. See what I mean? So I don't know, but anyway, I don't want to pull in like some of the older stuff over the new cheek products, because I don't want you to, like, if I put this down and then I put the blush on top of it, the shade's going to look very, very different. So I won't use them today, but that was a really long way of saying they don't technically have a bronzer, I don't think. but there are shades in their blushes that I think could work as bronzer. And I also think this shade, this 128, I think it can work as bronzer, but I think the 129 is going to be even better as that. But anyway, we'll see. Let's just put this down as blush though, and then we'll use the shade on the far right as like the highlighter. So let's do the highlighter first. I'm going to use the Chikuhodo KZ05 as the highlighter part. So I'm going to concentrate it here. And this brush may be too light to pick this up, too soft. We'll see. Yeah, it's too soft. You need a denser brush. So I'm going to use the Sonia G mini base brush. I find this to be a good brush, a nice dense brush to use with highlighters that are either more of that like Beige Gelée formula that's a little harder to pick up, or just, you know, I want more pigment. Yeah, that works fine. And you can see what I'm talking about. Like you can immediately see that there's a shade here, whereas with the KZ, you see nothing. And this is the you know, the discussion about like what tool, right? There's a tool for everything that you're trying to do. If something doesn't work, if a brush doesn't work or a product, you know, you try it and there's no pigment coming out, it could be that you just have the wrong tool for that particular product. And if you don't like that, you know, that's okay. You can say, well, this product's not for me because I don't like using a denser brush or whatever the case may be. But just, you know, realize, try different brushes because sometimes that is the issue. We're going to try the soft cheek brush. This is also Sonia G with the shade on the other side. I think this will work, but if not, we'll use a stiffer cheek brush. Yeah, I think that's fine. This is definitely a warm toned blush. It's got kind of a peachy, orangey kind of thing going on. I like it. I think it looks nice. I think the 129 is cooler and I think would work as like almost a contour shade too. I need to pick it up because I have like gone back and forth about this a couple of times, and I feel like if I don't pick it up, I'm probably gonna regret it because I kind of want to see what it looks like on the skin. And that is limited edition. These two shades are limited edition. So I'll show you on my hand. And like most Suqqu products, they're not super pigmented. They have a lighter, I say ethereal, softer kind of look to them, which I know a lot of people like, including myself. And that's 128. You probably also are asking why I'm wearing a hoodie when it's summer, which is a decent question. I'm recording this on Sunday when the hurricane is coming in, and we were very lucky actually. The hurricane basically missed us. It went west. So actually the part of Massachusetts that's getting hit is the western part of Massachusetts, which is kind of interesting because, you know, you would think it would hit, it is hitting the coast, but it's hitting like the southern coast, and it's actually hitting Rhode Island and Connecticut and Western Mass more than it's hitting us. So they're getting a lot of rain, and we're getting some rain, but it's really not that bad. It's just much, much cooler and just dreary, frankly. It's just, you know, it's dreary. So I decided to put on a hoodie, and I was just like, okay, it's just not going to be a, it's not going to be a nice day, which frankly is much better than, you know, hurricane. I'm going to use the Dior Tan Bronze to sort of bronze up the rest of my skin. It looks like there will be some after effects. In other words, the storm is going to kind of stick around. So we'll see if we get anything tomorrow or Tuesday. You know, it's just too early to tell like how the system will, you know, die down once it hits landfall. I think it just hit Rhode Island. So we'll see what it does and if it just, you know, lingers there or not. Hopefully it's, you know, not too bad and no one gets hurt. You know, and I mentioned this in another video, we don't really have, we have storms, we have tropical storms that hit the Cape and stuff from time to time, but generally, you know, we're too far up. By the time it hits us, usually it's, you know, pretty downgraded from where it is when it hits, you know, like Florida or Texas or anything. So we don't usually have too many of these types of storms, but I am definitely glad that it kind of missed us, which is good. Okay, so I'm going to use the 107 eyeshadow palette, which is the cooler one of the two. And I will swatch this for you. What I've said about Suqqu is that it is ethereal, soft, you know, a little bit more powdery. The formulas have all been beautiful. Like I said, I haven't had a product from Suqqu that I've been disappointed by, but I also would say I am expecting a softer look with their products. I don't expect a, you know, very, very pigmented, duochrome, sparkly. That's not, you know, what you're going to get with a Suqqu product. At least that's not what I've had so far with a Suqqu product. I'd say the most pigmented things they have are probably their lip products. Their lip products can be actually quite pigmented, and the lip fogs and the lip fog, the glow ones, I forget what the full title is, but those are actually, they can be quite pigmented and are actually beautiful on the lip. So that is the color story. Many times when I see looks done with Suqqu palettes, the deepest shade is actually used as like a liner, and the lighter shades are used as almost like a gradient, you know, light on the lid and then a little bit above, and then the sparkle shade put all over. I tend to use the deeper shades to deepen up the look, but you can absolutely use that as more of just, you know, a liner or an accent color if that's what you decide to do. So let's go in with this pinkish shade, peachy shade, kind of all over the eye. I'm going to use the Crease 2 brush by SUQQU because it's relatively new to me. I picked it up recently and love this brush. I think it's a great brush. I'm shocked that I think I tried to pick it up like a long time ago and it was sold out, and then I forgot to go like back and look for it, kind of thing. Yeah, the SUQQU brushes are just really great, you know, like solid workhorse kind of brushes. They always work well, and I feel like I tend to reach for them when I have like a problem with a shade or a product. I go to SUQQU, and they always work for me. The Chikuhodo brushes are great brushes, and the KZs are my favorite. But they are, and the FOs are as well, but they are soft brushes, at least the ones I pick up from Chikuhodo. I pick up the KZs and the Z series and the FO brushes. They're all very, very soft, and that's great for my easily irritated skin, but sometimes, you know, that doesn't necessarily pick up the amount of product. If you're using a soft brush, you're going to get an even softer look, which, you know, is not a problem. It's just, should be aware of kind of what you're, you know, of what you're trying to achieve. So this is a beautiful shade. It's, I'm going to start putting whatever's left on the brush just kind of over my eyelid. It is a tad darker than my skin color, but not by much. It's definitely pinker, but it's very close to my skin tone, which creates a great base. It looks really pretty on the eye. This is the kind of shade that I would use if I was looking for a very simple look and I wanted just to create some depth on my eye, on my eyelid, I might just use a shade like this one and put on some mascara. I often do stuff like that for like my Zoom calls because I don't want to look, for my job, I don't want to look like overly made up. So I'll use a shade like this or like even a bronzer. Bronzers work really well. And just create some depth into the crease, and then I'll like take whatever's left over and put it all over the eye and then put on some mascara. Because it gives a really finished look, a really nice look, but it almost looks like you don't have makeup on, but you have makeup on, at least on camera. In person, you know, you'd see it, but on camera, it's a good trick. So just something to mention in case, you know, you're looking for that type of thing. Then we'll take the brown shade. I think these are all like satins. They feel like satins. They're not matte. Or maybe they are mattes and they're just like a very, you know, soft matte. But I think they feel more like a satin when they go on. And all I'm doing is intensifying the crease with that shade, that brownie. It's just more of a, it's like taupe, I guess you would say. It's not grayish because it doesn't really have a gray tone. It definitely has more of a tan, but I would say taupe is the, yeah, I'd go with taupe. Like, I think that's what it looks like, at least on me. Things do go cooler on me though. I was doing something recently with a shade and I was talking to someone and we were like kind of comparing FaceTime wise, like what the shade went, and it was the exact same shade and it went so much cooler on me than it did on my friend. And she is more olive tone, but it was just so interesting because it was the exact same shade. So, you know, that's why swatches are incredibly helpful, but they're only helpful if you know that person's, you know, like skin tone and what it tends to lean, because, you know, once I put it on my eye, I just get a totally different vibe from it than I do when I see it in the palette. Okay. So I think that is a really good base. I think it looks really pretty. I think it's, you know, like I said, light, ethereal, but it's definitely there. Like, you can see the shades. It's not like it's not pigmented. There's a difference to me in, this is just a Wayne Goss 03, nothing on it. There's a difference to me in a product that I don't feel has any pigmented payoff. Like, you know, it looks like vibrant in the pan, then you put it on your eye and there's nothing there. And a product that is intentionally soft. I think they're two different things. So yeah, I think that's really pretty, really nice look. Very, again, this is my definition, day to day. So I really like it. Now I'm gonna do something that's a little, not unusual, but I'm gonna take the deepest shade, that purple shade, and put it on the lid. And the reason I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna show you how the topper shade just changes it, in my opinion, drastically. So I'm gonna go in with a Sonia G flat definer. This is from the travel set though, so it's a tiny, tiny handle. And I'm gonna tap off quite a bit to make sure that I don't put too much on. So I'm gonna keep it light in the application. I'm not gonna try to pack the color on by any means. I mean, it's definitely purple. You can see it, but I'm not, you know, trying to intensify the color. If you're trying to get, you know, more payoff with the shade, that's kind of what you do. You know, pack the shade on. You basically pat it into your skin instead of buffing it in. You just literally, you know, pack it on in layers. And that will give you a more intense look. But if you're looking to not have a more intense look, just kind of sweep it on and you'll be good to go. All right, Wayne Goss 03 again. And I'm gonna buff it out even more to lessen the intensity of that shade. Okay, I think we're good. No fallout. looks really good, blended exactly like I thought it was going to. It is a SUQQU palette. I want you to see a little closer in before I put the topper shade on. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Three shades on, no topper shade. All right, I'm gonna clean up the eye just a little bit. Okay, and now we're gonna take the topper shade and put this on. And the reason I did this is I want you to see that even though this looks like, it doesn't look like much in the swatch, but when you put it on the eye, it really does change the look, like a lot. And I've noticed that about pretty much every SUQQU palette I've had, that the topper shades to me always look like, oh, that's pretty. And then I go to use them and I'm like, oh, like the entire eye look changes. So I'm not exactly sure what it is about them. It may be like they have more of a holographic, that's not the right word, but like they have a shift to them that is really, really well done and doesn't really show up until you put it over something else. Because when you just swatch it on your hand, it's like, well, okay. But when you put it on over the other shade, it really brings it out. Okay, so there's the look with the topper shade on. I think you can see what I mean. It changes the entire look that you created. And I think that purple shade, although yes, you can definitely like make it deeper and darker. I think if you use it all over the eye in a light way, like light hand, I think it looks really pretty. And with the topper shade on it, I just think it looks amazing. So now I'm gonna use the deep purple shade as liner. And you don't have to make the palette look as cool as I've made it look. I think if you focus more on that tan and you don't use the pink like all over the eye, you kind of, use the tan all over the eye. I'm gonna use the purple on the upper lash line too. If you use the tan all over the eyelid and then just put the sparkle shade on the topper on that, or use the purple just as an accent, I think you can get a more neutral look if you're looking for that. But I do think this is a cool toned palette, which is actually why I picked it up, because I liked the cool tone nature of it. I thought it was, a pretty look. And I still think that. I think it's a really pretty look and I like the way that it came out. So I'm gonna put on a little bit of mascara and then we'll try out the lips so you can see the new lipstick formula. I cannot wait until I get my roots done. Okay, just had to say that. So that is the finished look. I'm using the Chantecaille Longest Lash Mascara, which is one of my favorites. I love the look. I think it's really, really pretty. I mean, it's a gorgeous eyeshadow palette. It's, I don't mean to sound bored when I say that. I just mean like every SUQQU palette I tried, they're all beautiful. It's just a different color story. Cool toned, again, light, soft, ethereal. Those are the words I would use. The topper makes it for me. In my opinion, that's what makes all these SUQQU products, like the eyeshadows, like come together. I think the topper shades are special. They don't look like much in the swatch, but when you put them on the eye, I just think I think they make the look. I think they tie everything together. There's lots of different ways that you can use these shades. You can take the deeper shade and, like I said, just use it as liner. You can use it as an accent. You can use it all over the eye and make it a deeper look, which I, did with the lid. There's lots of ways to use it. But it is cool tone. If you don't like purple, you're not gonna like it because it definitely comes out more purple. The tan shade in here is tan, as you saw on the swatch on my arm, but the rest of the shades in the palette are cool tone. So yes, you can make it more neutral, but I still think you're gonna get a cooler look. I believe the other eyeshadow quad was much warmer in nature, the one that I didn't pick up. So lips. SUQQU came out with a new formula in lipstick, and these are what they're calling sheer matte lipsticks. I was not gonna pick them up at all because it has the name matte in it, and I don't wear matte lipsticks. But then Jen from Just Glow Firefly had one of these that Suku sent to her when we were in Vegas together. And I gotta tell you, it didn't look matte to me at all. So I originally just ordered one online, and then I ordered 3 others because I really like the formula. But it's not, in my opinion, it's not what it sounds like. It sounds like it's gonna just be a matte lipstick but very sheer, and that's not what I'm getting from these. Again, maybe you will all disagree. So Suqqu Sheer Matte Lipstick, this is number 06. They come in these bullets, just like a regular lipstick, with a little plastic cap on top. The cap, the hard cap, which is this really, really pretty design, comes separately. The caps, I think, are $4. So if you're interested in the lipstick and you want to buy one, and you're one of those people who needs to have like a real hard cap with it, you're gonna have to spend money to buy the cap. Now, I think that was done so that you buy one cap and leave the rest with just that little plastic cap, but I can't do that. I had to buy a cap for each one. So that's the 06. It's a beautiful, like autumny, autumnal, burnt orange kind of shade. And you can see what I mean. Like, does that look sheer to you? Because it doesn't look sheer to me. Okay, the next one is, I gotta make sure I got the right shades. Yeah, this is 07. This is the one that I ordered originally. That's 07. It has more of like a rosewood, I'd say. Still brown, still browny. That's actually another reason I picked all of these up, because they're the exact shades that I like. Like, they're browny shades. And not all lipsticks have brown shades in them that still work on my skin tone. Like, brown works if it has like a cool undertone, like this kind of rosewood thing, or it has more of this like color of my hair. But if it's just brown, it doesn't look good at all. But these kinds of shades are harder to find than you might think. So that's why I ended up picking them up. And then 10. That and the fact that I really like the formula. I just don't see it as I mean, they're not satiny, that's true, but they're not matte. They look more like velvety. So this is 10. You can see that this still has kind of like a brownish undertone. It's more like a reddish brown though. It's probably the coolest, maybe 07, but I think it's the coolest of the shades. Now, the last one is a limited edition shade. This is 103, and this is the shade I believe that Jen had when we were in Vegas that I really liked. And that's 103. It does have a strong resemblance to 06. So if you can't get the 103 because it's sold out everywhere, the 6 is very similar to it. At least to me, it looks very similar. So today I'm going to use the 10. Well, yeah, I'm going to use the 10. I think it's probably the best match for the eye look. But I would say I think all of these actually will probably look better with the other quad that I didn't pick up. But I do like these shades, and I'm very excited about having them. I think they're going to be shades that I reach for quite often. And when you see it on my lip, you're going to see what I mean by it really just doesn't look matte to me. And I'm not going to use a liner or anything, so you can see exactly what the shade looks like. Okay, there's the shade. This is number 10, like I said. It's a really pretty shade. It's like, it's a reddish brown, kinda. I mean, like I said, I'm not sure it's a great match for the eye look, but I love the shade. I think it looks really good on me. It's the kind of red that I can wear. It reminds me a little bit of, oh my goodness, I forgot, Nude Red by La Bouche Rouge. It has a similar shade to it. So when you look at my lips, I understand that it doesn't look shiny, but it doesn't look or feel matte to me, nor does it look sheer. This looks pretty pigmented. But what I like about it is, and you know, like I said, it doesn't look shiny. It doesn't seem to transfer like onto my teeth or like spread really easily, which is what I don't like about deeper shades when they're satins. Because I feel like when I have a deeper shade that's a satin, I always end up getting it on my arm, my face, my cheek, whatever. This is like a velvety lipstick that isn't so pigmented that it gets everywhere, but it's not sheer where it looks patchy or it's not showing up. It's a really good formula. I'm not sure why they chose to call it a sheer matte. I would have called it a velvet. I would have, or maybe come up with a new name, like Velvet Light. I don't know what to call it, but it's really unusual, and I really like this formula. I've worn the 103 for like a day. It didn't feel drying. It didn't feel irritating. It faded well, you know what I mean? I have to say, Suqqu does a really good job. Their lip fogs and their lip glow fogs are like my favorite liquid product for lips. I think they're phenomenal. And this new formula, I gotta say, it's really, really good. I almost picked up the 101 and 102. I think those were the two other shades, the limited edition lip shades. I almost did it because I was like, oh, I should just get them because I love the formula so much. But then I was like, I'm back to wearing masks. They're gonna go bad. So I didn't, but I have to say, I really am impressed. I really am impressed by the product, by the formula, by the shades. So if you're interested in picking them up, and you know, I understand that the 102, the 101, 102, and 103 might be difficult to get. If not, they're sold out. Like, I'm not sure which is which, because I saw like 103 was available somewhere and 101 was available somewhere. Then I saw that it was out of stock, but then I saw something come back. I'm not sure if they're, you know, sold out or just limited, but this is a permanent shade. This is shade 10. It's a beautiful shade. You could get this, I believe it's still available on Selfridges, Harrods, Liberty London, what am I missing? Cult Beauty. So, you know, I'll put the links in the description box, but the formula is really what's impressing me. Not so much a limited edition shade. Yes, the limited edition shades look beautiful. The 103 I really like. I'm sure the 101 and 102 are beautiful as well. But it's more about the formula, which I think is really, really good. And for those of you out there who are afraid of mattes, or are like me, you know, I am afraid of mattes because my skin is dry and my lips are dry. This is not like that. This is different. And I'm not going to say it's moisturizing because it's not, but it's a good alternative if you're looking for something that's a little bit more long lasting, that it's not opaque, but it has pigment. So I'm not exactly sure how to explain it, but I think you can see it on my lips. It doesn't look mattifying. So to sum up my thoughts, as usual, Suqqu did a great job. You know, I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. The foundation looks really good with this primer. I have to say, I am stunned at how much I like the primer with this foundation. I think it looks, my skin never looks flawless, but it's close. Like it looks stunning. It just really looks good. Not too dry, not too radiant, just phenomenally good. I'm really impressed. Maybe I'm just having a really good skin day. I don't know. But I'm going to keep trying this primer with different foundations and see how it works. But so far, I am really, like, okay, wow, all right. That's good. It's not happen very often. The blush I really like. I think it's a really pretty blush, and it's definitely a warm tone blush, and it's got a great highlight to it. I really do want to pick up the 129. I think it's the cooler one. It probably would go better with the eye look, and it might make a good contour slash bronzer, we'd have to see. So I do want to pick that up. The lipsticks, the sheer mattes, I don't know why they're called that, but I think they're beautiful. Love the formula. Absolutely love them. And the eyeshadow quad is gorgeous. Like, it's like all the other eyeshadow quads I've tried from Suqqu. I think the topper makes it. That's my opinion. But all the shades are great. They blend well. They look great on the eye. They don't accentuate texture. I think they work really, really well for mature skin. I think they work well for everybody. But again, for mature skin in particular, I think it's an excellent choice. I have nothing bad to say. Sorry. I know we had this conversation about, like, you know, it's hard to believe a review if there's nothing bad, but I don't have anything bad. I'm sorry. Like, it's just everything works really well. Now, it could just be me, but it works really well for me. So that's why I continue to pick up Suqqu products, even though, as I said in the beginning of my video, there has been some difficulties with the releases. So that all being said, I know there is a holiday collection, which I've seen some glimpses of. I'm not bowled over by the color stories they've chosen for holiday. And I've gone back and forth a couple of times about picking it up, not picking it up. I'll probably pick it up. If I do, I will show it to all of you. And I will make sure all the details of everything that's on my face is in the description box. And I will continue to update you on how I feel about the primer and how it works with other formulas and other foundations. But with this foundation, I absolutely love it. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it. And I hope to see you in another video really soon.